Hello, everybody. Welcome to Wholehearted Loving. I'm Stephanie.
Hi, I'm Georgiana.
Today, we're going to be talking about relief and allowing yourself to feel the enjoyment of relief. Before we speak, I'll tell you that you can learn more about us and our program at wholeheartedloving.com, and you can find self-reflection prompts for this episode and every episode on our Instagram at wholeheartedloving. Before we get started, we'll do a body-based self-connection practice to connect with ourselves before we connect with each other and this podcast.
Yeah, so when Steph asked if I had any ideas on what we could use for a self-connection practice, and I knew our theme was relief, I thought of the sigh. You know, when your body just takes a natural sigh of relief. And sometimes it's nice to create that experience just so the body is more familiar with it. So what you can do if you're open to playing along is on your next exhale, see if you can connect to allowing for a deeper sigh. Does sighing always have sound, Steph?
Technically, yes. Don't know that technicalities matter.
So play with that. And one way that helps me connect to a sigh is when I breathe in. So you can follow along if you want, breathing in through the nose. Breathe in through the nose a little bit more. And let that out on the exhale, the sigh. Notice how that felt for the body. And you play with that a couple more times, see how that feels. It reminds me of when you take a balloon that you've blown up and then you let it go and it goes it flies away. That's what that sigh felt like.
And then there's horse sigh.
Okay. I don't think my face can do that, but I don't think, yeah. Is that the donkey?
That could be a donkey. Yeah, there's very different
I don't
degrees
go
of
that
this
way.
one.
I gotta practice more.
Maybe you have a goldfish sigh. Adorable. I mean, these are all have very different qualities that are useful to explore and differently relieving. Yeah. I immediately began experimenting with this because sighs are a bit loaded for me. I know we're doing a shorty, so I'll have a small tangent right now. I have an ex who, when I emitted a contented sigh, read it as an exasperated sigh. So I think that's just in there. When I think of sighing now, that just comes up. So I tried sighing with my mouth closed, the nose sigh, and that has a very different quality than or the horse version or the goldfish version. Like, they all give my body different sensations that are different types of relief.
Yeah, it's nice to know which ones feel like relief. When you talked about the mouth closed one, I'm like, that's not relief. That feels like all tight and closed in.
Great.
So, relief. We often say we want relief. And I notice that we often don't catch moments of relief and notice them. And we definitely don't linger in them and savor them. And this came to my awareness even more today during a call. So I wanted to share this little example that I think a lot of us can relate to. And this example involves a pet, someone's cat. And they said, I just want to update you that my cat is had their surgery, and I feel relieved that the surgery is over and went well. And I was like, woohoo, great. That's my internal experience. And what happened was I saw that as a moment to like sit with a little longer and expand. And so I asked, would it be okay if we just sat with that feeling of relief for a moment? Because that's a big deal. I know how important this thing was for you, for this person. So she said yes. And so we said, oh, can we just bring that back a little bit, that sense of relief, knowing that your cat, who was really sick, had the surgery they needed and everything went well. And can you just notice where in your body you might feel that sense of relief? And so we did that. And then that next level was, are you willing to stay there for a little bit longer? Are you willing to let that sense of relief expand a little bit in your body? See what happens. Right? So we just walked her through that, and she's like, oh, it feels really nice. It softens. And then she's like, but then my brain comes in really fast and says, and that's going to be a really big credit card bill. And the mind was going with that thought. And so it was a great opportunity for us to practice this thing that I've noticed in my life, in so many people's lives that we're not very well practiced in, is like adding the period to the end of the sentence earlier, right? Of just, my cat had the surgery and the surgery went well and I feel relieved. Period. Stop the sentence. Stop it right now. And often when you and I facilitate groups, people will share something that's worthy of sitting with and tracking in the body and letting ourselves linger and enjoy it a little bit more, savor it a little bit more. But our old patterning is to just keep the sentence going. And when we keep the sentence going, it usually isn't another pleasant thing. Even if it was, you and I tend to pause people and say, well, wait, let's hold on a second. There's a series of pleasant things. Wouldn't it be nice to get the most out of them and really feel them in the body? And so people are willing to practice. But typically it's, oh, this thing went well. And you know what isn't going well is this, and this.
Yeah.
Right? So in this call, we practice just pausing earlier and allowing ourselves to feel the relief and track it in the body, stay with it a little longer, enjoy it a little bit more. And it wasn't about minimizing or ignoring or being in some delusional world that you don't have to pay for this surgery. It was, let's enjoy this, and we know we can come to that and deal with that later. Right? Yeah. And then, we played with something else, which is we tapped on the body. She chose a spot to tap on. And we said, part of me feels relieved that my cat is okay, surgery went well. And part of me feels worried because it's a big credit card bill. Right? And we just noticed how that felt to add in a little bit of tapping and to honor both parts. And we just sort of ended it there. And she tracked how that felt and she shared with us. And then we tried another way to work with it, which is, part of me feels really relieved that my cat is okay, that surgery went well, and we're tapping as we say this. And part of me is worried about the credit card bill because it's going to be a hefty bill. And then we went with, and when it's time to deal with that, I'll deal with that. And I'll find a way to work through that and handle that situation, right? That was I acknowledged the relief. I acknowledged the worry thought. And I'm reminding myself, when it's time to deal with that, I will. It'll probably work out okay. This is another way to deal with it, or to not deal with it, but just to be with that experience, which is, part of me feels relieved that my cat had the surgery and surgery went well. And oh my gosh, part of me also feels worried about this big credit card bill. And for now, I'm choosing to bring my attention back to the relief and enjoy that for a little bit. Right? So there's so many different ways that we can be with ourselves and what comes up. But notice how each of those ways might have been very different than your old typical ways of allowing the worry to hijack the relief and then turn it into more and more worry.
Yeah. it's as though we're like aiming for a permanent vacation where everything's going to be magical all the time. We're just going to have relief. And until then, we're going to let ourselves just worry, right? This is about the creating the life you want, is noticing that relief, noticing that celebration, letting the other parts of reality be there as well. But if we want to have a life that includes relief and celebration, we're going to have to give some focus to that. This is making me think of arriving on vacation and just starting to plan your leaving, like just thinking about the flight home the minute you land on your vacation. And that's no way to vacate.
There's no way to vacate. This reminds me of when, separate to this, I agree with that's no way to vacate. And we've had people say, so you mean even a moment of relief is a good thing? Like, even if it means you haven't solved the problem? And like, my immediate sort of response is, well, does it feel nice to have a moment of relief? And like, everyone's always said yes. Yes, that feels nice. Well, then allow for that.
Right.
Right?
That's the muscle we need to grow with practice, right? Our worry and fear muscle is strong and hardwired, and it's the other stuff we're talking about to create a more loving, peaceful, happy life.
And the irony is, the more you allow yourself to enjoy relief, you actually grow your capacity to have the brain power and clarity to solve the next issue, deal with the next issue.
Totally. I've gotten really good. So I used to be very much of the mindset of like constant worry and vigilance is the way to stay safe and happy, which it was not. And I've noticed over the years that I've come to a place of if I'm like, okay, we're now celebrating, the thing is complete, the cat is healthy, whatever it is. There are a lot of voices in life that will swoop in with the but, whether it's your internal voice or an external voice of someone in your life. And in the past, I would have gotten reeled into that. And now I feel more inclined to go, please stop, arrête. I'm enjoying this moment of relief. I am choosing to enjoy it until an actual problem arises. We don't need to come up with theoretical future problems right now. I'm enjoying this moment of peace. Goodbye.
I'm enjoying this moment of peace. Goodbye. Well, really, that's the voice of someone who's curating and protecting their peace.
Yeah.
Right? And I didn't know that I had the ability to do that. And I didn't know that that was my own responsibility to do that.
Yes. And that you can ask for it from other people. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yay.
Remember, like, to be able to have the courage to say, I feel really peaceful right now. I actually don't want to hear about XYZ. Right now, it's not relevant and it's not a priority.
Yeah.
Right? When it becomes relevant or it is a priority, I'm open.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm enjoying my peace.
Yeah. Beautiful. Is there anything else you want to say about this before we have a little practice enjoying some peace and relief?
I think maybe just notice in your life when there are moments of relief and see if you can be in that, right? Like, I remember one of the questions was, well, what happens when your brain goes really fast to the next thing? Let's just see if we can have one breath of the relief. Don't try 3 yet. Try 1. If one breath seems hard, just try tracking. Am I noticing that there's relief? How am I noticing? Okay. That's even more than what we typically do.
Yeah.
Typically, like, the relief, like, say, is here in one hand, where I thought.
Yeah.
Right? Relief
Immediate.
is all of a sudden gone immediately. Just smacks it
Yeah.
out of the way. So just noticing where there's moments of relief and reprieve is a good start.
Yeah, it's so ironic. So we're just working towards relief all the time. And the moment it's there, it's dashed by our inner monologue. So yeah, let's practice something different.
Yeah. Okay, so to close, we can practice, right? So we're going to practice by bringing sort of reliving old memories. And we're going to relive the old memory of, recalling a time when you felt relief, big or small. And notice how that felt in your body, that moment that registered. Oh, thank goodness. Notice maybe the words that come to mind for you in those moments of relief. Not what happens after relief and our brain wants to hijack, but that initial moment of, oh, thank goodness. Oh, I'm so relieved. What was happening? How did it feel in your body? Right? If you notice it somewhere in your body, is it a pleasant feeling of relief? Can you allow yourself to enjoy it for 1 breath or 3? Is there a willingness to let it expand a little?
There's so many beautiful ways that people can practice this. I'm thinking about the relief of having gone to the bathroom when you need to go, or having cleaned your teeth. Like, there's a lot of ways to consciously fold this into your day to grow that muscle.
Totally, right? I think we all know the relief of being able to go to the bathroom, right? Sometimes the relief for me is not just going to the bathroom. It's like, thank God there was a clean toilet and I didn't have to use an outhouse. That feels like relief.
Mm-hmm.
Relief that the debit machine says approved. That moment of, okay, right? Relief that I made it onto the ferry on time. There's so many moments of relief probably happening every single day that we miss.
Yeah.
So just learning to catch them.
Yeah. Paying attention can be so good.
Mm-hmm. Relief today when I was running late on a call and I saw afterwards, I saw your text and I'm like, shit, did I forget? Am I supposed to be on some other call, where we're facilitating something? And then I looked at my agenda and I said, nope, just hanging out with Steph. I'm like, oh, relief. Relief that I didn't keep all these people waiting and you hanging out on your own, waiting for me to show up, not knowing where I am. There was a moment of relief, right? Also another moment of relief of Steph will understand it's okay that I'm a few minutes late. We will have a good time when we get on the call together.
Yeah.
That was relief. Right? Yeah. So relief is all around. Was it Love Actually? Love is all around. That was the theme of the movie. Relief is all around. And how sweet to notice that even in hectic lives during hard times in life, there's probably many moments in your day where you're like, I'm relieved that went okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And pleased to enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thanks, Gigi. Anything else you want to say?
I don't think so.
Oh, the relief of needing to stretch my shoulders and then doing it.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to go for relief right after this podcast because I'm thirsty. I would like to relieve that thirst.
Perfect.
And I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to make that intention to enjoy it.
Excellent. Yeah. So easy, but so impactful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for being here. As always, please do like, follow, and subscribe. And if anything we've said here today has been helpful for you, please share with somebody that you care about. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.